Version of my live video. We are getting together because it is Wednesday, and I'm usually live Wednesday on my own paint page over on Facebook, but I was busy, so I'm going to pop on real quick because I had a specific request for a video that I've done before on Facebook that has been since deleted. So let's hang out and learn how to create a paper wreath. Now these wreaths are super simple to make, not hard at all. You're going to only need a few items to make this happen, and one of them for me is a vintage piece of music paper. So this paper is from a vintage songbook, a vintage music book, right? And all I'm going to do is keep chopping it up until I have enough of the papers that I need to create what I want for this project. So in order to make this project, which is going to be a very large wreath, okay, this is going to be a very large paper wreath, you're going to need a few things. Scissors, paper, glue gun, and a piece of twine and some sort of cardboard. What I'm creating today is a very large wreath made out of music paper, and it's very, very fun. I actually used to sell these all the time at Christmas. People love them. So what's your first step when coming in to create a paper wreath? Well, you're going to want to be making these little paper cones. You can see this paper cone right here, super simple, super easy, nothing fancy, right? In order to make a cone, you need to start off with a square shape. So I just randomly cut my paper until I get enough square shapes that I'm going to need to make this wreath. I'm going to be layering this paper. So the paper itself will be getting layered on top of one another. I'm going to use old yellow paper as well as newer music paper. So how do you make a cone? You're just going to turn it over like this. You're going to stick your little glue gun in here and you're going to grab it. When you grab it and you hold it, you might burn your fingers, but don't worry, you should be all right. And this is going to create a cone, and we're going to create a wreath of these cones around in a circle, building up the layers to create something that you can either hang on your front door. It looks really great with a Christmas, kind of Christmas balls in the middle, whatever you like. Today we're going to do this piece in 100% paper. So the first step is to cut up your paper and create your cones by simply folding it over, sticking the glue gun in there, and then just holding it for a quick minute while it adheres. Now, if you want a smaller wreath, just cut smaller pieces of paper. These papers have all been cut to around the same approximate size. And what that's going to do is allow me to get the same shape for all of the little kind of flowery bits that are going to surround this wreath. So now that I've made a bunch of these, I've got them pre-made over here in the corner, how do you start with the back? Well, this is very simple. You're going to need a piece of cardboard. I often just use the cover of the book that I'm using, because more likely, more times than not, this is actually going to be made out of a piece of heavy-duty cardboard. So if you cannot cut a circle, you can trace this with a plate, trace this with a bowl, whatever you like. Let's do this with a bowl so that we can learn. I'm going to trace this piece of cardboard, and we are going to cut out a circle. Now, it's up to you whether or not you want to get in here and make it a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller. It really doesn't have to be perfect. This is going to be on the back part of my wreath. All this is going to do is hold all of my beautiful pieces together so that I can make a really pretty wreath. And this is a thicker cardboard. So this is what's going to hold it. So I'm going to make something on the back that's going to allow me to hang my wreath. This is just a piece of twine. I'm going to use my glue from my glue gun, push it down here. And actually, if you like, you can put a little piece of paper on top of there. It really doesn't matter. Whatever you got going on, if you just give it a minute, it should harden up. Sorry for the sniffles. I have a little bit of a cold. I'm just going to stick a piece of paper on there so that I know it's going to stay nice and secure. So this is going to be what would hang on the back, and we're going to create the wreath off of this piece right here. So I like to take my glue gun and start on the top. All you're going to do is create yourself a couple little spots of glue. You're going to grab one of your cones and you're going to gently use your finger to kind of hold it down. Now, guaranteed I'm going to glue my fingers. I'm going to hurt myself and glue my fingers. It's going to happen. What we're going to do is start to create a small circle of these beautiful vintage music paper. And we're going to go all the way around. I want them to touch, and I want them to kind of go all the way around this piece. So we're going to see if I remember how to do this, because it's been literal years, but I had a couple of people asking. feel like I should probably go like top and bottom so that the pieces actually stay nice and centered, right? I mean, it would make sense. So let's start with that. Can you see how we're working here? We're gonna work all the way around. So this is my top and this is my bottom. Let's keep going and gluing our cone shaped paper around our wreath. I'm gonna alternate between the light color paper and the vintagey color paper. And these are actually gonna get all squished down in a hot minute when I do the second layer. It's gonna keep going all the way around until we have created a circle. Covered in cones over here, cones everywhere. Okay, move my stitches out of the way. I kind of turn as I go. So this is gonna be the outer layer of my flower wreath. I know you guys always see me for furniture painting, but guess what? Sometimes staging is part of furniture painting. And I use these wreaths on mirrors. I use them on the wall behind my furniture. It's a really fun look because it looks a little rustic. Like, it doesn't look too perfect. So being this way is gonna look really good with stage furniture. So if you're a painter and you're looking for something that's like a cheap idea, you can do this with music papers, you can do this with book pages, you can do this with colored paper. There's no rules. As you like. I feel like I want to put a darker one in here. There we go. Okay, so now we have created our first base layer of our wreath. Gonna give it a minute, make sure these are all pushed down. And now, when you pick this up, this is the back layer of my wreath. If I can lift you up even higher just to get another view. Don't want you to be too close. Now the next layer is going to sit in between each crack. So the next layer will come here to cover the holes. If you go directly on top, it's not going to look as cute. But if you layer it down a little bit, hopefully I don't run out of cones. We're going to see if we can do this in 3 layers. Let's continue. So for this part, you're just going to lay your glue down. And I use a lot of glue. Do I need to be this excessive? Probably not, but I am. And I like to kind of smush this second layer. The second layer gets a heavy duty push down to make sure that it's really sticking to my previous layer, if that makes sense. Move some of these little cones over here, making them easier to grab. You can start to see how it's coming together in the shape of a wreath. If by chance you do this whole thing and you feel like, oh my gosh, it's coming apart, like I didn't use enough glue, you can reach back in into the center and do another little tab of glue. It's not gonna hurt it. You're pushing down in the middle and we're gonna cover up from the middle so you really don't see that. And if I'm missing any comments as they fly by, I apologize. I will look at them after. I can't craft and read comments at the same time, y'all. Turn it a little bit. Can you see how the colors of paper from like vintage to like whiter look really pretty together? And once we get into the center, what you can do is you can buy those really cute little, kind of like a little floral centerpiece from their Christmas collection. And it just is so cute when you put a little Christmas ball in the middle. It gives it a little color too. Now you can see here I'm getting lower. So I'm gonna push my little glue just a little bit lower, just so I can make sure that it's secured in the center with my fingers. Trying to again alternate between the lighter shade of paper, the newer paper versus the yellowed paper. I'm a big fan of the yellow paper. And if you can't find vintage music paper anywhere, I believe at Hobby Lobby they actually sell paper for crafting that looks like music sheets. You might be able to do that as well. Okay, so now we have 2 layers of this beautiful, really pretty wreath, okay? I'm gonna flip it over so you can see the back side. Just shove a tiny bit more glue right there in the middle, just to get those 2 to stick together. Now this is paper, it is fragile creature. It's not like gonna last outside an outdoor door, but on the inside, it's really pretty. So the back just has that little layer with the hoop That little loop right there is the thing that you're going to use to hang up your paper wreath. And these are really, really nice on top of a mirror. They look so pretty on the top of a mirror. Let's see if we can get one more layer in here. And I'm going to be gluing those little pieces down kind of from the center. So I'm going to bend my little tiny floral cones. So I'm starting with them kind of bent already so that they sit in the middle. And if you want, you can kind of reach in and kind of heat it up and grab it to the next one behind, which is always kind of nice anyways, so then they sit just a little bit better. Anybody can do this. This is not hard. This is literal paper crafting, but to make the cutest little Christmas wreath. Let's do one more right here, and we're going to stick it down right there. Can you see how now I tell you how the center really works well when you add a Christmas ball in the middle or like a Christmas decor? I feel like I'm going to do a couple more. Let's see if these ones are too big. I think I can do one more on that side. We're going to glue them over here. So you've probably seen variations of this kind of style before, but this is just the way that I do it. Like I said, I used to make these all the time. But the videos on Facebook started getting deleted after 30 days. So some of my old videos that I had like tagged for crafting have just disappeared. So this way I'll have it here on YouTube where everybody can see it. Okay, so now we have a beautiful wreath. We have this little hole in the center where if you had like a Christmas ball, you could put the Christmas balls in the middle. What you can also do is take your leftover pieces of paper that are shaped like this, because remember we cut a square and the square shape has kind of leftover piece. So you can actually decide to do like a little curl like this and put a couple of those in the middle. That's usually what I end up doing. Let's make some of those. I'm just going to hold that for a minute, and then I'm going to, it's probably easier if I cut it and kind of tamper down the sides. So we're going to fold them in a little bit so that I can create almost like a little tunnel for my glue to stick on. And I think usually do about 3 of them. So there's one. Let's get one more. Again, just folding it around, creating a small little tube. Glue. And cut so that we can bend in our edges. Just hold it for a minute for the glue to secure. And I think one more will be all done, our fast and fancy wreath. These wreaths are really great at Christmas. People love them. If you're a crafter and you're looking for something to sell too, I used to sell the pants out of these little wreaths. People would just do marketplace pickup all the time. Okay, so again, making my little cone. Cutting in, 1, 2, 3, and bending it in. That way my glue has something to stick onto. This will be the last of the centerpiece for my wreath. If your finger's not long enough to kind of tamp it down, you can hold it with your scissors. 1, 2, 3. I think I could probably glue this side of my little centerpiece to the other one. Now, this little wreath is done. You have made yourself a really pretty little paper flower. It looks adorable up on the wall. Let me aim the camera this way so that I can aim it up and hold it. Oh, it's telling me to go back. Uh-oh, don't tell me I ruined it. There we are. We're back. We're back. Let me hold it up against the door so that you can see how cute this is. I'm going to try and pick it up from the back. Then I made this in 15 minutes just talking to you. So imagine if you weren't talking and you were able to make this, you would have a beautiful wreath that sits in your wall. Super cute. I can see some little glue strings there. Very easy to pull off. Really, really cute little wreath. Let's see if I can hang it up so that I can move back and you can get the full effect. Trying to do things with one hand is always interesting. There you go. How fast and easy is that? So cute, right? So cute. All you need is paper of your choice, vintage book paper, vintage music paper, whatever you like. Make the tiny little cones out of squares and some hot glue. There you go. Everybody has now learned how to create a vintage book paper wreath. Again, look amazing on top of mirrors, look amazing with stage furniture. I know this isn't furniture paint, but y'all, I didn't want to get messy today. I'm heading out for dinner soon. So this is the craft that you're gonna get. Thank you very much, you guys. I appreciate you hanging out with me today. I will see you again next week.